Hello and welcome to Be Lifted Up Radio, your guide to living an abundant life. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. and I'm here with my fabulous guest host. We know each other so well, so let me not play it off like I don't know who she is. She's my sister. She's my sister in Christ. She's my sister. Dr. Cheryl P. Williamson is on as our guest host for this episode of Be Lifted Up Radio. Cheryl, what's up?
I have a big smile because I am back on with you. This was on my vision board. So I'm super excited to be here as your co-host today. And I know it's going to be an amazing day because every time I'm in your presence, whether it's on Be Lifted Up or whether we are at a Black Enterprise event, you bring the magic, you bring the heat, you bring all things Black excellence. So I'm excited to be here with you today and cannot wait until we jump into this segment because that's what we do.
That is what we do. We're together. Look out. Look out.
Yes.
Because everything you say about me is what I say and believe about you. So again, our audience, you're in for a treat just to have Dr. Cheryl in the house with us. But we're also in for a treat because this conversation, speaking of abundant living, is also a business and financial conversation. That's what this show is about. And we have on the show a Brandthrupist. We're going to find out what that is, who that is, and why that matters to you, especially if you're trying to build a successful business and career. Listen, you'll meet her shortly. This is Be Lifted Up Radio, your guide to living an abundant life. You'll find out what a Brandthrupist is when we come right back. Welcome back to Be Lifted Up, your guide to living an abundant life. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, my sister, Dr. Cheryl P. Williamson. Cheryl, what you got going on right now? I mean, you know,
I'm
on the show. I can have you.
I'm super excited because I'm here with you. That's first and foremost. On my periphery, I have just finished the first segment, the first season of my podcast, Ageless, Fearless, and Unscripted. And Alfred, I have to thank you because you've been a role model for me on what this should look like. So I thank you and I honor you for always being a person that I can come to, ask a question. You're not afraid to put me in a room and make sure that I get some of the shine in the room. And that's what I think all of us should do more. So thank you for being that amazing role model, my brother, my friend. And I'm honored to be here with you today. And I know it's going to be a great show because you always lift people up through business, through encouragement, through taking their life to the next level. So I'm honored to be here with you and cannot wait until we introduce our guests.
You know, I put you in rooms when I can, not because you need to shine. You give the shine. I'm blessing. You think I'm blessing you? I'm blessing them. So listen, this is so good. But today's conversation, which I know is right up your alley because you've successfully navigated it in your own life and career. The topic is branding for success.
Yes.
So, and you changed your brand. You're a fitness entrepreneur. And, you know, and I remember you talked about your journey. You didn't necessarily think you'd be doing what you do now and even being who you are now. And, you know, God will do that for you. Or how you look at it. But this idea of branding for success is a great conversation when we talk about who we're trying to be in our walk as representatives of God and walk in this abundant life. Branding is very important.
Absolutely. In fact, people should realize they are their brand. You are your walking brand. So whatever you say, whatever you feel, however you react, that becomes a part of your brand. And that's why I think the conversation that we're having today with our guests is going to be so monumental because many people are just starting out or starting over and they don't know what a brand should look like. What should I be doing? What should my website look like? Do I need an audience? Should I be on social media? And that's all a part of branding. So, Alfred, you're always on the cutting edge of opening doors and opportunities for so many people. So, this conversation today is an ideal opportunity for our guests to share what people should be doing to brand their company. And I thank you again for allowing me to be a part of this conversation.
Well, listen, without further ado, again, we do have the expert, like we always have on our show.
Yes.
Yolanda M. Smith, the Brandthrupist, personal branding expert, business strategist. She's described as a highly driven woman. We're going to see what that looks like. But again, just great having you on the show, Yolanda. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you and Dr. Cheryl. It's a pleasure. I've paid attention a little bit along the way, and I kept hearing the name Alfred Edmond and that associated with Black Enterprise. And I'm like, how come I don't know this man? I'm not sure. But you know what? Today, everybody has a day one. So I'm excited. Today is my day one.
Well, I'm with you because, like me, Cheryl, and now what I know about you, we're laboring in the same vineyard.
Yes.
Each of us in our way are working to help entrepreneurs be more successful, and helping people have more successful careers. Obviously, that's been the core of my life at Black Enterprise for more than going on 4 decades. So you're right. I'm always surprised when I meet somebody like you who's obviously expert at what they do, obviously excelling at what they do. And I'm like, what? I must know Yolanda Smith. I must know her. But like you said, day one is a good day. Why don't you just introduce yourself to our audience and talk about your journey to become the Brandthrupist?
Absolutely. So I am Yolanda M. Smith. I'm a people growth leader and Brandthrupist with a passion to help coaches, entrepreneurs, and professionals to get and stay in business by unleashing the power of their personal brand. So through my guidance, formula, and systems, I help them to be able to articulate their value, live authentically, and stand out so that they can have more influence, impact, and income. And so that was my $1 million minute. That's what we teach people to say off the cuff, right? They need to have their I'll call it your brand statement. Some say your elevator speech. For me, I don't like that because it usually includes your job title, and we're not our job titles. You know, we need to align to our ownable assets. But I started personal branding in 2013. I was the chair of a nonprofit of a girls organization called Girl Talk. And I wanted to do more than just be the chair, and raise funds and things of that nature. I wanted to roll up my sleeves and really have an impact on the ladies. And so I started researching, and I literally stumbled up on it. And I'm like, what is this? And I started digging deeper and deeper and really became fascinated with the whole concept of personal branding. Created a workshop, started teaching it. Before I knew it, the parents were in the workshop going, we need this. If we have this, then we can teach our girls. And that was that aha moment in which I knew I was onto something. And obviously I just scaled it up to a more professional level. I come from the pharmaceutical industry, spent 35 years in pharmaceuticals, and a great deal of that, over 20 years in senior leadership, from marketing to customer engagement, communication. So understand the value of using the voice and how a powerful brand can really open doors unimaginable. So that's a little bit about me. And so I'm excited today to be here, to be able to share some nuggets with our viewers and listeners and give them an opportunity to understand that a personal brand is a requirement, not an option.
So Yolanda, when a person who is just moving into their career or starting their company, what would you recommend to them their first appointment in your office? How do you approach the whole branding and personal branding with someone who's not familiar with it?
So I think that when I look at what I do, it kind of goes along with the business strategy, right? You're building that brand as a part of the overall business strategy. And so the first thing I ask is who are you? Can you tell me who you are? And if I find that they're stuttering and they're grasping for words, right there there's not the clarity and the succinctness we would like to have there. But then the second question I ask is why? What is your why? Why are you doing what you do? Because we don't chase money, we chase our purpose, right? We chase passion, because it's not sustainable if we're just chasing money. And so it's really understanding what is that why. And then the third question I want to know is, what's your vision for your business? What is the vision that you have for your business? Because then I can start to really cultivate how you need to show up. That fourth question is that fundamental question, not just necessarily what you provide, but I want to know who you provide it to, and who is that ultimate target audience, that desired audience that you want to capture, and what do you know about them? What do you know about them? What are their pain points? Because you solve a problem, you make money, right? And we're here to make money. We don't apologize for making money and having abundance. I think we've got to change the mindset around money, but that's a whole nother show.
So we got the right guest with the right topic, because she done said abundance. She done said mindset change. She said we ain't got to apologize for making money. Again, that's what we all about on Your Guide to Living an Abundant Life, either through the radio. Listen, hold that thought. We're on fire. We're going to heat it up some more. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. I'm here with Dr. Cheryl P. Williamson. We got Yolanda Smith in the house.
Yes.
Sit tight, and we will be right back.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is your co-host, Dr. Cheryl P. Williamson, here along with my amazing brother, Alfred Edmonds with Be Lifted Up Radio. And that's right, you heard it, Be Lifted Up. In our last segment, you couldn't help but be lifted up, because if you're a new entrepreneur or an experienced entrepreneur, Yolanda came in guns blazing and told us right away what we needed to do when we stepped foot in her office in order to establish our brand. So in keeping with that, we want to keep the energy going. So Yolanda, after they have established their why, and this is a part of their purpose, and they don't need to chase money, what are some of the things that you tell them they need to have in place before they even launch out in this business? Because we know once you launch out, you can't go back, right?
Right, that's right. One shot on goal, right?
Yes.
And if you think about it, most entrepreneurs are out of business within 5 years, right? So we've got to be changing the trajectory to do something different there. And so one of the things that I do is I really help them to gain clarity on who they are and what they do. And so ultimately, I have a 5-step a brand system that I put them through that really helps them to understand. So first we start with authenticity, right? Who are you? How are you showing up? If you feel like every time you get to the door, you got a code switch to become who you think they want you to be successful. The problem with that is that we know as women, and particularly people of color, we're trying to please and make sure that we fit in. And so sometimes you see a lot of that. But the problem is it's not sustainable. Why is it not sustainable? Because we're not satisfied. Nobody's happy being something other than their real self, right? And so when you look at that, I really want to dig deep and say, how are you showing up? Because that it's through the authenticity that we're able to build genuine connection, right? And we know that connection is the new currency. And so if your network equals your net worth, then we've got to make sure that we're in a position to really be able to build solid, meaningful relationships. Number 2 is your value. What is your value? Do you really understand your superpowers, your expertise, what you can deliver to others? Because the problem is that oftentimes when we think about personal branding, we think about me. But no, it's really our ability to serve others. I say to people, serve 7 times, ask once. Because when you do that, when you serve, the reward's going to come back. But people need to know what it is that you do. So how are you able to articulate that value to them so that they understand fundamentally what's in it for them? right? We don't need the features of what you do, but what can they expect to get out of it? Number 3 is, what's your story? What is your story? Are you comfortable sharing your story? Because a lot of times we can be very closed up. We don't want to share. We want to look all buttoned up and perfect. But what we don't understand is that people connect with your story, not your glory, right? They want to see the progress, not the perfection. And so I even tell my clients, I've got a couple, they are so bad to the bone. I said, you're looking too good. You know, sometimes you can look too good. It's time to pull some of that back so they can see that underneath, what did you do to get where you are today? Because they need to know, they go, I want to be where you are. I want to be where you are, in John Maxwell's word, but you got to do the did. You got to do what I did to get to do what I do, right? And they don't understand that. So what is that story? Are you willing to share that story? And fundamentally, if someone's to meet you on the first time and they say, hey, tell me something about yourself, are you going to fumble the ball, or are you going to be able to succinctly and with clarity tell them? And then it's your digital footprint. We're living in a digital world. We're not going back, right? It's going to be hybrid at best, but it's very digital. And so if I Google you, I can't find you. In my opinion, you don't exist. So it's very important that we get out there and put a positive digital footprint out there and ensure that how we act offline mirrors how we act online with a level of consistency, right? Because we don't want to create that brand confusion. What do we know about confusion? Confused people don't buy, right? Period. And then lastly is, once you're able to develop some of that magnetic messaging and you feel confident in being able to say, because that's the beauty of it, when you know who you are, you build a level of confidence that is unwavering, right? They may be able to push you down, but you're going to get back up because you know who you are, you know the value that you can deliver. And so then now it's time to master it. So what do we need to do? We need to amplify that brand into the marketplace so that you can become the, not the best kept secret, but the sought after authority, right? You don't want to be chasing clients, you want to be attracting them. So that's some of the process that I put them through as they start to build this brand, but understanding that your brand is not the business card, it's not the website, it's not the colors and the logo. Those are your brand identity. That enhances your brand. But until you really know who you are and the value you can deliver to other people, it's going to be hard, because then you're just picking random colors and things and you don't even know what they mean. Colors have meaning.
I'm passionate about mentorship, both, across the board. I've been mentoring since I was in my 20s, but I'm currently a mentor for Black Ambition, Pharrell's program for Black entrepreneurs and Latino entrepreneurs. And that's like a formal program. And you said some things I think are important. One, but the thing about authenticity in all spaces and wherever you go. So first of all, you said the why. And I tell people, if you find your why, you will find your way. Yeah. Like, you got to have why is your destination. You're going to figure out how to get there. But if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. But the other thing is that, and you talked about the digital footprint, I tell people that if you get your brand right, you almost are not thinking about it anymore. Like, if you're being yourself, you don't have to think about being yourself. And so I would say, look for those places and spaces where you're saying you're one way in this space, but you're different on LinkedIn. You act differently on Twitter. You act differently around your family than you do around your college classmates. And not that you're going to give them all the same version of you all the time, but there should be some consistency around who you're presenting yourself to be to the world that's true to who you are, and then branding, you lean into it as opposed to chasing it. And you're right, if you're chasing the money and the money's not chasing you, that's a sign. That's a sign. I mean, not that business is easy, not building a career is easy, but when you're leaning into the best of who you are and you understand it, it does come naturally to that. I mean, Cheryl's just a great example of that.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely. When you are working with your clients, have you ever had a situation where someone wanted to present their brand in a certain way that you did not agree with based on your research on them? And then how did you deliver in order for them to realize that it will work better if you think about doing it this way?
Sometimes it's hard. I work with a lot of high-powered executives, professionals, and when you've been successful, Sometimes it's difficult. I can admit I was that person at a time where the word that I use is I was not coachable, right? I was not coachable. Sometimes we have a level of success and we think we know it all. But let me tell you, that corporate world and this entrepreneur world is two different ball games, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes. And so for me, I think what it is we have to have the conversation about really being coachable. And sometimes we have to unlearn some things to relearn other things, right? Because we are set in our ways and we feel like this has worked for us. And so why would I change courses and do something different? So I think it's really just having those conversations, being able to show them the process, trust the process. There's a system and a process that we go through to get you here. I do a 5-day challenge and it's just a low cost entry to really get access to me and really be able to really understand your brand. The first day is mindset. You will not, maybe you wouldn't be surprised how many people fall out that first day because they want to get straight to the brand. They don't want to talk about mindset, but their mindset's all messed up, right?
Yes.
But you don't want to talk about it because you want to get to here, because we won't trust the process. So it's really just getting them to be coachable and trust the process and know that I'm here for your best interest. I'm not here to hurt you. And I've got, replicated results, proven results to show that I can do what I do. Definitely.
I have to tell a lot of people, through, my mentorship and even my work at Black Enterprise, we're interacting with entrepreneurs and people who want to be successful, is you can't build the mansion starting with the penthouse. Everybody wants to start at the penthouse. I was like, no, you have to get under the foundation, lay that foundation, the mindset, and build your way to the penthouse. But we all, and social media is a big part of that, we all want to start out in the penthouse. But it doesn't work that way. Listen,
That's right.
I thought you're listening to Be Lifted Up Radio, your guide to living an abundant life. We're getting mics and gems dropped all over us by Yolanda Smith. I'm here with Dr. Cheryl P. Williamson. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. Stay tuned. We will be right back. We're here with the one and only Brandthrupist, Yolanda Smith. I'm here with Dr. Cheryl P. Williamson. This is Alfred Edmond Jr. And this is Be Lifted Up Radio. We're going to continue what I think is a critically powerful conversation, because we are talking about prosperity and abundant life in the context of building a successful business. And you talked a bit about the challenges of shifting gears, the challenges of unlearning things so you can learn something else new. And I'm reminded from what you said about when we think we know, we can't learn anymore. We think we got it like that. Even when we hire somebody to help us, no, you don't understand. This is the way it's always worked. And you're trying to say, yeah, it may have worked for you in the past, but you're trying to go to someplace different. You're trying to go to a different level. Maybe your marketplace has changed. And therefore, you need to look at your brand differently, even if you're going to keep the same brand promise. Yeah, I just want you to talk some more. Cheryl really set it up. A lot of times, your clients are not necessarily, willing is not the right word, but no, you have the word, coachable.
Yes.
They got to be coachable. So talk some more about that when we talk about opening ourselves up to the possibilities of new levels of success and abundance.
Well, I think it's like this. I used to teach something called situational leadership. And the thing about situational leadership is it's the premise that when we start something new, we go back to what they call a D1, developing one, because we haven't done it before, right? It doesn't mean that you don't have skills and you don't have assets and expertise to bring to the table. It just means for this particular thing, you don't have the skill yet. So we've got to develop you, which means you've got to stay close to a mentor. And for those that don't know, you need to have coaches and mentors in your life. They help you go further, faster. You learn from their mistakes. Don't just be afraid to invest in yourself. That's one of the worst things that we do, is we try to do it through trial and error. And oh my goodness, sometimes it just never works. So they give up, right? You give up. And so I think it's just going back and understanding where you are in that position and what you want. And the other thing I will say that I have found extremely important is that what got you to one level won't get you to the next level. Come on now. So what got you to $10,000 won't get you to 100,000, and 100,000, what got you there is not going to get you to the million, and what got you to the million ain't going to get you to the 10 million. And so you have constantly got to be reskilling and retooling so that you can be successful and it can be sustainable.
And the thing about that, and Cheryl, you spend a lot of time with you just helping so many women navigate through this process. Well, men too, but you help me, but this idea that because of the technological change, this leveling up has to happen faster and faster and faster.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be one innovation might last a whole generation. Now one innovation might last 2 years, and then you gotta, and I have this saying I tell my mentees, I was like, the way you know it worked is that it stops working. The way you know it worked is because it changed everything in your environment, in your marketplace with your customers. And therefore, you can't just say, "Oh, that worked yesterday. Why didn't it work today?" I mean, Cheryl, I know you deal with that all the time.
Absolutely. Yolanda, what I love that you mentioned earlier is about the network and the net worth. Do you have a specific time that you're working with your clients during the branding that you talk to them about? Two things I want to ask: mentors and sponsors and how they know the difference. Mm-hmm. And the second piece of that is, how do they get the seat at the table, or how do they get in the room? And do they know the importance of networking?
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, that's a great question. That's a lot to unpack. Okay, so let's see how we can do this. Okay. One, this is what I will say, is that when you think about, when we have those conversations about, let's start with how do you get in the room? Well, let's take it back, and then we'll get to the mentors and the sponsorship. Okay. One of the things they have to understand is sometimes it's somebody that gets you in the room, right? That's why, again, you got to have the network. You have to have the connection. Somebody might bring you along and get you in the room. Sometimes you have to pay your way into the room. Yes. I mean, when I left corporate, I had to get up with some powerful coaches, and I had to pay my way into these rooms. But what I found is that even though it put a lump in my throat, sometimes these price tags are pretty hefty, right? And it'll make you choke, thinking you're getting ready to pay this. But the reality is this: when I got there and I got the information, I realized at that point in my life, I never want to be in another room where I'm the smartest person in that room, because I found so much value in learning from those that are where I want to go. I found so much value in learning processes and systems that literally one guy taught me something that scaled my business, and that one stream of income ended up producing $400,000, and my investment was $30,000. That's a good investment. So then when you think about your mentors and your sponsors and understanding the difference, personal branding is so powerful because it'll get you in rooms unimaginable, right? People become attracted to you when they understand who you are, because we do business with people we know, like, and trust, right? And then we know that sponsorship, just like personal branding, it's what people say about you when you leave the room, right? That sponsor is that person that is going to be willing to bring your name up as a potential, right? When you're not in that space. Mentors can help us to guide us, to make connections and networks for us. And some of them are paid, a lot of them are not. Coaches are typically the paid coach that gets you through a program, gets you through some specific goals that you want to achieve and accomplish. So coaching tends to be more time bound, where mentorship can be forever if you continue the relationship on.
You said a whole word, and I have this conversation with entrepreneurs all the time, and I get it. You're starting it up, maybe money is tight, your time is tight, and you want to go to this conference. I said, yes, like you said, if somebody will bring you to the room, take it. That's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, but a lot of times you need to pay to get into the room. And I know I'm biased. Black Enterprises in the conference business, Cheryl knows. And if you could tell me, if I can tell you how many people, the only time they want to go to a conference is either they can go for free or they're speaking. But then they wonder why nobody's inviting them to speak. I was like, who's going to invite you to the conference that you've never been to and put you on the stage? You know, and I said, now, how much money could you make if you said, you know what, I'm gonna take. I just came from a conference in San Francisco. I paid my way. I'm with Black Enterprise. I still paid my way because there were people in that room. You know, this is a whole group of young venture capitalists and private equity folk that to them I'm the old uncle. But I'm like, but I need to know who these people are, and I got to pay to get into the room. So that's a whole word right there, because unfortunately, and not unfortunately, I do understand when you're a struggling entrepreneur, you're trying to avoid it. But to your point, it's a major investment. And Cheryl, I mean, I know Cheryl's been spoken at our Women of Power Summit, but how many years did you go to Women of Power before you got on the stage at Women of Power?
Ooh, I went from 2008 to 2024.
Wow.
And you weren't gritting your teeth when you were coming. You were enjoying it. You were building relationships. And by the time they were invited, they were like, when y'all gonna push Williams?
And this is the truth. So one of my mentors, her name is Linda Clemens, right? And Linda, you know Linda. Yeah. Well, Linda speaks. Yeah. She's the one that bought me. She bought me in that room, you know, and just said, this is where you need to be. These are some of your people. And you know, I've been several times since, but it's one of those situations where, you know, sometimes we don't even know what we don't know. We can be in such a bubble, right? We can be in such a bubble that you don't know. And I tell you, I was in that pharmaceutical bubble. I spoke all over the pharmaceutical space, but you get me outside of that, and I'm still clueless. You know, I'm still learning. I'm one that will admit I am still learning, you know, and trying to make the connections in the network. So it's an ongoing process. This evolves. Yes, have I had a level of success? Absolutely, but I'm still learning, and I'm okay to do that. I'm okay to do that.
You know, it's so important, dropping so many gems, so many mics. You know, oh my God. I'm so glad I now know you. You have a hard time getting rid of me now.
Okay, good.
You know,
good. I love
everybody.
This is how it works, right? But think about it, it's a big world, you know, so it takes these connections to get connected. And once you get connected, it's up to us to cultivate the relationship. That's the other thing people don't understand. Cultivate the relationship. They're too busy wanting likes and how many people follow them. I don't care. I'm good with the true couple dozen, right? I don't need hundreds and thousands of followers just to say I got followers if they're not doing anything for me. That's what I tell you. The brand is powerful. If they're not advocating for you, they're not willing to share your information, they're not there to support you.
And the other thing, we're about to go to break, so I'm trying to get carried away. Maybe Cheryl, you'll pick it up in that next segment.
Yes.
But I tell people, go in thinking about what you can do for the other person.
There you go.
And then do it. If it was just a little thing, go.
Come back, I'll give you a quick story. You'll love it.
Absolutely. So listen, you're listening to Be Lifted Up. Your God is living an abundant life. I'm excited about to jump out of my chair here with Yolanda Smith, Cheryl P. Williamson. Sit tight. We will be right back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Woo! You missed a powerful segment. This is Cheryl P. Williamson, and I am here with my amazing brother, friend, mentor, Alfred Edmonds for Be Lifted Up Radio. And we have an amazing guest in the studio with us today, Yolanda Smith, the Brandthrupist. And during our last segment, we were talking about serving. And if you know anything about serving, and if you don't, you're about to learn how important it is right now. So Yolanda, when we broke away, you said that you were going to share with us a story about the power of serving. I think it's so important that we share that now, because we want to make sure that our listeners know the value that when you serve well, very rarely do you have to ask. People want to help you. So will you share that story with us? I'm super excited.
Absolutely.
I'll come out so I can take notes.
So it's interesting. I feel like God led me to something this year that I didn't want to do, right? And so the opportunity kept coming. I kept saying no, 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 no. And it was something called Legal Shield. I don't know if you've ever heard of Legal Shield, but it's a subscription service. And somebody said, you need to do this, you need to do this. No, I don't. Okay, so fast forward, something happened. I needed some legal, right? I go to an attorney. The attorney says it's going to be astronomically expensive. In my head, I'm like, okay, who was this guy that kept hitting me up on Facebook? I go back to the gentleman. He shares it with me. I'm in. Not only did I go in, but then something in my spirit said, you need to offer this to your clients. They need to know how to do entrepreneurship in a way that is affordable and they can have the legal protection they need. So started doing it. Okay. So that's another branch of what I do, because I believe we got to have multiple streams of income. That's important. So this is a stream of income. So as I'm getting into the organization, I remember them saying, okay, you got to come to this conference. I go to the conference to buy a ticket. The VIPs were sold out. So I get a general admission ticket, but I go back to the guy and I said, sir, I just need you to understand there's nothing general admission about me. I said, I'm a VIP and I need to be in the VIP. They were like, I know, but you're just coming on board and they've been sold out since the last conference. And, I'm sorry, whatever. I said, but you guys are going on a yacht ride. I want to go on the yacht ride. I'm sorry, you can't go. I thought, watch me work. Right. And so ultimately what I did is I went to the head guy. Bill started building a relationship with him. And then I knew he was having his conference and I said, hey, I don't know where you are in terms of putting your agenda together, but if you would like, I would be willing to offer you a session for the associates to talk about branding and how they can, how are they showing up and the value and the power within their own brand. And he was like, okay, that sounds good. And so fast forward, I ended up getting on someone's stage in front of hundreds and hundreds of people, right? Because I wanted to serve them. But not only did I do that, guess what? I got in VIP and got on the yacht, right? So my point is that if we don't always think about ourselves and think about other people and the value that I could bring to them, that was immense value. And what the people said, oh my God, we needed this. We need, you just never know when your gift can present itself in a way. And guess what? Some of my people, did you charge them? I said, no, I did not. And it wasn't necessary, right? It's about building the relationship. And that's what we've got to understand. It can't always be transactional. Sometimes we just do it. The rewards I have been blessed immensely through that organization because of that. You know what I mean? But it was genuine. It wasn't, I did this because I wanted something. Now I did kind of want to get on that yacht. I ain't gonna lie. Wait a minute. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, it wasn't like I was looking for the payday.
Right. Well, I tell people, you talk about nurturing the relationship. And again, Cheryl, I know I'm biased toward you. How much I care about you. But Cheryl's a great example of nourishing the tree that's going to bear the fruit when everybody else is grabbing for the fruit. Like you said, the yacht was the fruit. Getting on the yacht was the fruit. Yeah, right. That's going to be some good fruit. I need to get on that yacht. You know me. But if you had focused and stayed on that in your mindset,
that's right.
You wouldn't even thought about, maybe I can offer something of value, and if it gets me on the yacht, great. But if it doesn't matter. No. I am giving, and Cheryl, you're so about that, and how you built your business and your career. Because I don't know if I ever see you. I know you get paid to do what you do, so I know you can't look that fly. Nothing. But like you said, if you're serving, the more you serve, the less you have to ask.
Yeah. And people, when they understand too that you're going to bring that value and they understand what you can deliver to them and that you're genuine, that's why I tell people you got to open up and let people understand you. They got to know the story. They got to feel like they know you, because when they know you, they'll flow you, right? Think about it. That's when the magic happens. That's when they'll nominate you, sponsor you, they'll promote you, they'll hire you, they'll do business with you. Heck, they'll even marry you and loan you money. It doesn't get better than that. I mean,
that's so true. Yolanda, as a Brandthrupist, would you share with us 3 tips that someone can walk away with right now listening to you and implement And that's so important. And I want to make sure I ask that question just like that, because a lot of times when people think they have too many steps, they'll fall off. So share with us 3 tips that people, as soon as they get off, they'll say, oh my goodness, I got this from Yolanda. I can implement this right now.
Right. First of all, get clarity on who you are. Dig deep. Sometimes we got to dig deep. Get rid of the limiting beliefs. Believe in yourself. Know who you are. And then be willing to articulate your value to other people. Help them understand what you do, because I can't tap you on the shoulder if I don't know. This isn't about bragging. This isn't about showing off. This is about helping people to understand, to know. So that is so critical, right? And then I think the third one is just where we left off. You've got to serve. This is about serving. And if you give, I promise you the rewards come back. I don't even focus on it. I mean, just to show you how the blessings abundant. I just found out I'm the #1 recruiter in Legal Shield. Only been in 7 months. #1 in female recruiter. I didn't know that. I wasn't focused on that number. Guess what? I'm focused on helping people to get the protection they need, helping them to build their businesses and their brands to make sure it's solid. I'm not focused on the accolades. I'm focused on truly meeting somebody where they are and helping them get to the next level. Focus on that. Don't chase the money. Chase your purpose. That's what I would say, you know. And if people want to, you know, stay connected, certainly you can catch me across all social media platforms at Branding 4 Success. It's Branding for Success with the 4 across all platforms. And I will be doing a live event in Indianapolis August 17th called Brandthrupist. That's a premier personal branding experience where luxury and learning collide. And that will be the launch of my new book, Brandthrupist: Ignite Your Brand Power on Social Media for Revenue and Results. So that's going to be powerful, and you can get more information about that at brandthrupist.tv.
Wow, that's amazing. First of all, those resources are amazing. So
yeah,
take advantage of that. But just everything you just laid out. Again, you started out at A at the beginning of the show, and now we're up above, I don't know, A++, because you know, I'm you know, Dr. Cheryl was talking about taking notes. I'm already got, like, next time I talk to my mentees, I got some gems for them, because
I'll come in and talk to them for you. Get them together in a group.
Don't mess around.
There we go. Let's do it.
I get to
Yolanda, I love the fact that you spoke, and I know we're getting to the end of the segment, but I want to address this because people need to realize exactly what you said. The difference between relationship and transaction. Transaction is $500. That's the end of it. It's done. Relationship is 500,000, 500 million, and I'm going to continue. So we have to become more relational and less transactional, because that's all you're going to get. A transaction, no relationship. Yolanda, you dropped some tremendous nuggets, and I'm going to give it back to my brother, Mr. Alfred Edmonds III.
I'm just going to underscore what both of you ladies have said, and I tell you, companies, major companies, they're looking at the lifetime value of every customer. You know, it's not the one meal you bought that day or the one article of your clothing. They're like, if I can get a relationship with this customer, this could be, like you said, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars from that one person who now says, this is the brand I deal with, and that's where that money is being spent. And you can't think that way if you're thinking transactionally.
Yes.
As usual, we could go on and on and on, but now you know where to find Yolanda. You need to get a hold of her, follow her on her socials, get the book, get the movie, get all, whatever she got. Just get it. And you should check out Brandthrupist. Listen, Yolanda, we are so glad that you made time to share your time and your expertise and your intentions on Be Lifted Up Radio. Thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And that's another great show, another great guest. Sit tight. We will be right back with Be Lifted Up Radio. We did it again, another great episode of Be Lifted Up Radio with Yolanda Smith, the Brandthrupist. Cheryl, so many gems and mics were dropped during this conversation, but what say you? What is your takeaway? Since you just work with a lot of great entrepreneurs as well, so that was like your system right there.
Yes, absolutely. One of my biggest takeaways is for people to know the difference between being relational and transactional. The transactions are a one-time thing, but when you build relationships with people, as you know, Alfred, because I know through us building our relationship, that has opened tremendous doors for me. And people need to realize that when you show up in authenticity, it opens doors for you. And that's a part of your brand. Branding is about being authentic because you don't have to think about, well, who am I supposed to be online? Who am I supposed to be on LinkedIn? And that's what the segment was, a lot of it was about. And it was just so eye-opening and refreshing to hear another Brandthrupist come in and speak about this. So Alfred, thank you for allowing me to be here with you, the co-host today on this amazing branding session with Yolanda Smith. It was amazing. I learned a lot and took a lot of notes.
You know, the saying goes, if you always tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. And if you're always being who you are, you ain't got to remember who you were the last time somebody saw you. You're just being yourself. And that's really the basis of a truly authentic brand. Well, listen, everybody, you're listening to Be Lifted Up Radio, your guide to living an abundant life. You can find this show and all other episodes of Be Lifted Up Radio at liftedupradio.com. Also, the Mocha Podcast Network.com, podcast plural, or everywhere you can find your podcast, all podcast platforms, you can find the show. We're also on Sirius XM 141 HUR Voices, so you can get the repeat, if you will, later in the week on that channel. And you can follow Be Lifted Up Radio, that's the letter B, liftedupradio.com, Be Lifted Up Radio across all social platforms, including Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and be up to date on everything that we're doing in new show episodes and all the gems that we drop. So listen, thank you for joining us. We will see you next time.